Hey, friends, and welcome back to another episode of the Christian Business Advantage podcast. I am your host, Alicia Avant, and I want to invite you to a new series here on the podcast for the rest of the month of August. And it is entitled Subscriber to Superfan Building Relationships Through Email. You all know that email marketing is one of my favorite topics. So I'm excited to share about it. Last week, I shared some takeaways from the Advanced Writers and Speakers Conference that I attended in St. Charles. And one of the things that I talked about was how different platforms serve different purposes. Social media can help people discover you, YouTube can help you build authority. Podcasts can help you build trust, and email, that's where you can deepen those relationships. And that's where I came about this new series. So, we're going to follow the journey that someone takes from the moment that they discover you to the point where they know and trust you enough to become a client or customer. And today we're going to start at the beginning. And so today's episode is entitled Someone Finds You. Because before you can nurture an email list, send welcome emails, or make offers, you first have to get people onto your list in the first place. And that's where your lead magnet comes in. Your goal isn't just to grow your list. Your goal should not be to just get people on there. But I know it sounds strange because we talk about it all the time. We have to grow an email list. But here's the thing, a large email list isn't necessarily a valuable email list. I'd rather have 500 people on my list who are genuinely interested in what I have to offer rather than 5,000 people who downloaded something once and never opened another email from me. Do you get what I'm saying? So instead of asking yourself, how can I get more people on my list? I want you to ask yourself, how can I attract the right people to my list? Because after all, those are two different questions, and they're very different questions. The first one will focus on numbers, but the second one will focus on relationships. And relationships are what we're talking about throughout this entire series. So let's start with what is a lead magnet? A lead magnet is simply something valuable that you offer in exchange for someone's email address. So you might hear it called a freebie, a gift, an opt in, a resource, a lead generation offer. And it can be any number of things. It can be a checklist, a PDF guide, a workbook, a template, a devotional, a quiz, a short training, a video, a resource list, or even a mini course. There are so many different not platforms, formats that you can use, but the format isn't actually the most important part. The problem you're solving is. So, one of the biggest mistakes that I see people make when they create a lead magnet is they try to make them too broad. So they want to create the ultimate guide or teach everything they know, but you don't want to do that. You don't want to put 50 pages into your freebie because you want to have something left to give them later. Your lead magnet doesn't have to teach someone everything, it just needs to be a first step. So think about the people that you're trying to reach. What is a problem that they're experiencing right now? What question are they asking? What are they struggling to figure out? What can you help them accomplish fairly quickly? That's where you'll start. So, for example, if you're a Christian author, instead of creating something called the Ultimate Guide to Marketing Your Book, you might create something called 5 Things to Do Before You Launch Your Next Book. Or if you're a speaker, everything you need to know about becoming a speaker should be 10 places to find speaker opportunities. You're solving a specific problem. And when someone downloads that resource, you know something about them. You know that they're interested in that particular topic. And that gives you a starting point to build that relationship with them. So here's another important piece. Your lead magnet should ideally connect to what you eventually want to sell. So that doesn't mean you need to create a freebie to directly sell your product, but there should be a logical connection there. So let me give you an example. If you sell a course that teaches people how to become virtual assistants, you might offer a simple checklist called 10 Steps to Start Your VA Business. Someone who downloads that checklist has already told you they're interested in becoming a VA. So that kind of qualifies that subscriber than someone who's downloading randomly a freebie. So the lead magnet becomes the bridge between what they need help with and how you can help them. And that's what you want. So I want you to think about your lead magnet as the beginning of a journey. Someone sees you, they see your blog post, maybe they hear you on a podcast, or someone recommends them to you, or recommends you to them, or maybe they find one of your YouTube videos, but somehow, some way they discover you. And then you give them the opportunity to take that next step by downloading your free resource. So now you have permission to communicate with them via email. But here's something important. The relationship does not end when they download the freebie. That's just the beginning. And that's what we're going to talk about next week. Because what happens immediately after someone joins your list is incredibly important. And I also want to give you permission to stop and think before creating another freebie. You don't need a lead magnet just because somebody on Instagram told you you needed one. You need one because you have something to offer of value to your audience. So ask yourself, who am I trying to reach? What problem are they experiencing? What can I help them solve? And what would make them say, yes, I need that? And then ask one more question. Where does that person go next? If they download the resource, what do I want them to know about me? What conversation do I want to continue with them? What offer might eventually help them solve the bigger problem? These questions will help you create a lead magnet that actually has a purpose. And I want to connect this back to something I shared with you last week in the conference recap. One of the speakers emphasized the importance of having your own web presence. Your email list is incredibly important. Social media is important, but you need a place that you can control. And your website is where you send people to learn more about you, your books, your services, your speaking, your podcast, your resources. And that's where you want to put your lead magnet. So think about it. Someone discovers you, they visit your website, they see this valuable thing that you're offering, so they join your email list and they begin a relationship with you. That's the beginning of your subscriber to superfan journey. So I'm going to give you a challenge. I want to give you a simple challenge. If you already have a lead magnet, go look at it and evaluate it. Does this attract the people I actually want to work with? Does it solve a specific problem? Does it connect to something I offer? And most important, does it provide enough value that someone would be excited to give their email address in exchange for it? If you don't have a lead magnet yet, don't worry. I want you to start creating that lead magnet by asking yourself some questions. Who do I want to reach? What problem can I help them to solve? And what simple resource could I create to help them to take that next step? So don't overcomplicate it. Next week, we're going to be moving forward to the next part of the journey. Someone has found you. They've downloaded your free resource. They've trusted you enough to give you their email address. But now what? What do you send them? We're going to talk about welcome sequences, or sometimes called nurture sequences, and what should happen after someone joins your email list. Because someone being on your email list is just the first step. You want to turn that subscriber into a relationship. And ultimately, that's what email marketing is really about. It's not about collecting a bunch of email addresses. It's about building relationships with people who have given you permission to show up in their inbox. So I want to thank you for listening to this episode of the Christian Business Advantage. And if you know an author, speaker, or coach who needs help building their email list, please share this episode with them. I'll see you next time.